All right, welcome everybody to our noon flow. We'll be starting standing today at the top of our mats, so you can find a comfortable standing position. Let's see. Get my screen's a little wonky here. There we go. All right, so take a moment to adjust. You can just work your feet out a little bit, spread your toes, maybe roll your shoulders. And just take a moment to perhaps close your eyes, make any adjustments in your clothing. And as you shift your weight slightly forwards and back, side to side, tune into the feeling of your feet, ankles, your knees, and just tune into the muscles of your quads, your glutes, your pelvis. Bring your awareness higher up into your torso and your face, softening any tension on your exhales, standing in a balanced and stable way, feeling your breath flowing through you. Notice the strength of your abdomen supporting you. And as we move through our sun salutes today, see if you can keep a connection to your abdominal center. Big inhale as you sweep your arms up, look towards your thumbs. Exhale, bend your knees. This first one will go slowly, so spend a few moments in your forward fold. You could even rest your elbows on your knees or your thighs. Really feel your weight shifting into the balls of your feet. On your inhale, lengthen halfway, hands could be above the knees. And step into a nice low lunge. Right leg goes all the way back. Feel into your hips and your pelvis here. And this first round, we'll just pause a moment. You could even let your knee relax all the way down. 2 slow breaths to open into your psoas. Start to root your hands down. As you lift your right leg up again, hover your left knee for a moment. Just feel your knee lifting and then step back to plank. And this first round, lower all the way down and inhale cobra, just giving your back some time to get used to the back bend here. Exhale to child's pose or down dog. And just walk it out in a way that feels good. Great. And then we'll lift the right leg high on an inhale. Look between your hands and carefully step your right foot and find that same long, low lunge just to feel the opening in the front of your left hip. You can even relax your left knee all the way down. Just breathe into your left front of your hip. Okay, on your exhale, shift your pelvis back. Inhale to step forwards, half lift. Forward fold, exhale, and then rooting into your feet and your pelvic floor muscles, rise all the way to standing, your baby back bend. Bow right down to your next forward fold. We'll do the same thing. Inhale, lengthen, left leg back to your long, low lunge. Okay. This time you can shift back and forth a little bit, open through the hamstrings a bit, through the psoas. And then root into your hands, hover your right leg this time. Just lift your leg up from the floor like doing a hovering pigeon. Then back to plank, lower down. Just giving yourself another chance to just find a little gentle back bend in cobra, lower, high cobra. And on your exhale, back to your child's pose or down dog. Couple deep breaths here, tuning into your pelvic floor. A deep core engagement. Lift your left leg on your inhale. Look between your hands, exhale, step. Pause in your low lunge and then slowly shift back and forth, just giving some rinsing out to the legs here today. As you exhale, pause a moment. On your next inhale, step forwards, half lift, lengthen. Forward fold, bow deeply. Inhale all the way to standing and release your arms by your sides. Pause in your mountain pose. Reconnect to your subtle core engagement. We'll do one more, but a little faster. Inhale, lift. Forward fold. You can step or hop to your plank. Maybe this time you go halfway down chaturanga and inhale up dog, your choice. Child's pose or down dog. Few deep, mindful breaths. Find a nice steady drishti gaze for your eyes between your feet on the floor or at your navel. And then you can do your little step or hop forwards. Land as you inhale and lengthen halfway. Forward fold. Take your time to rise up to standing. Pause a moment, feel. Moving into our sun bees with some variations. Inhale to your chair and melt your shoulders down your back. It's like an external rotation, so you can turn the biceps up a little. Maybe look up, sink lower. We feel the quads here, then forward fold over your thighs. Inhale, lengthen halfway, and go through your flow at your own pace. If you found the hopping back worked for you, do so. Otherwise, just step back to plank, halfway or all the way down, cobra or upward facing dog. Down dog, and from here, right leg high. Step your right foot between your hands. Left heel lowers down just on one breath. Inhale up, warrior one. On your exhale, lower all the way down. You can add on. Remember how we lifted the thigh? Well, you can add that on. Pause and then to plank. Lower and cobra or lower and up dog. And down dog. Resettle yourself. Lift your left leg. Step your left foot forwards. Right heel down, feel your feet, warrior one. On your exhale, lower down, option to lift your left leg. You're hovering there, feeling your core strength, and then add your flow. You can always modify by lowering the knees. Few deep breaths in your child's pose, down dog, or even with your hips over your knees. Okay, focus your eyes. Get ready to walk, step, or hop forwards. Lengthen halfway. Forward fold. Inhale, chair. Good. And stand. Pause a moment, feel. We'll do that same kind of pattern, but we're going to add different things on now. Inhale, chair. Squeeze inner thighs, sink a little deeper. On your exhale, fold over your thighs. Try to touch your belly to your thighs. Breathe in, half lift. Step or hop back. Find your flow or just skip it and wait in down dog. Okay. Right leg high, step forwards, warrior one. Inhale, lift your arms high. Okay, interlace your fingers behind your back or grab a strap or a sock and lift open, humble warrior. You can even open a little more to the side towards the left if that feels good. Let your head go. Take a deep breath here. Feel your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Lift up your arms, and from there, open warrior two. Sink deep into your warrior two and lean over. Actually, pause here a moment and breathe. Maybe you turn your head or turn your palms. Sink a little deeper into your stance. Okay, then lean forwards, reverse warrior. what's a fancier name for it? Peaceful warrior, exalted warrior. And then side angle. So you can find your favorite version of side angle, forearm on the thigh, hand on the floor, or the version I was liking lately is grab your hip, and then the top arm can go up and over, and you're perhaps going a little deeper than usual, or your hand can be on the floor. So just find what works for you. Okay, opening here, the left side even more. Inhale, back up, brief reverse warrior just for a breath because it feels so good. And then lower down, find your flow, or just for a rest, you can stay in the lunge and breathe. And we'll meet in child's pose or down dog. Pause a moment to recenter yourself. Okay, all that on the other side. Lift your left leg high, step your left foot forwards into a warrior. One hips forwards towards the front edge of your mat. Lift your arms. Okay, if you can, interlace your fingers behind the opposite way. A little bit of awkward grasp there. Slowly straighten your arms. Take your time. That's a big stretch in the shoulders. Look up. Fold forward. So you can go straight forwards, or maybe like we did last week, a little bit towards a warrior two, a little bit leaning more towards the right. Keep your eyes open and focused. Feel your feet. On your next inhale, tone your low belly, pelvic floor to rise up. Adjust until you find your warrior two, and spend a few breaths here. Find that heel to arch alignment. Add any little subtle movements, or you just cultivate strength and stillness. Okay. Next exhale, lean forwards, reverse warrior, peaceful warrior. Pause to feel the opening in your shoulders. Side angle, extended side angle, so you find your favorite version here. Could always be gentle, forearm on the thigh, hand on the floor, or even reach across for your right hip, and left arm up and over is one way of getting a little more into the core. The main thing is you're opening the right side of your body, whatever way that works for you. On your next inhale, revisit briefly peaceful warrior, leaning to the right. And as you cartwheel your arms down, pause in the lunge to rest, or keep going, find your flow. Plank, up dog or cobra, down dog or child's pose. Okay, good. We're going to add in a little bit of core here. So from your downward facing dog or from hands and knees, lift your right leg, square off your pelvis, and draw your knee in towards your nose as you exhale. Inhale, extend your leg back up and behind you. Knee to left elbow, so you get a little bit of a squeeze there, a twist. Good, and then knee to your right arm. If you have an arm balance in your practice here, feel free to go for it. Otherwise, you can come on back, roll open, give yourself a little rest, and roll out your ankle or your knee. Okay, then we'll just take it from here to the other side. Lift your left leg, straight back, knee to nose. Get in your rhythm. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale your leg up and back. Knee to right arm or elbow, squeeze. See if you can go all the way to the end of your exhale, and then inhale, extend back behind you. Need a left arm option to do the arm balance. Stay here longer, or go back and roll open and pause. Give yourself a rest between sides. You could rest in child's pose, or maybe you lower the forearms and rest in dolphin. 3 breaths to let things sort of wash through. Okay, from here, We're going to lift our right leg again, so you can be in your hands and knees or down dog. If you have the flipping the dog in your practice, lift your right leg, let your foot come to the floor. If not, just modify in modified side plank with your knee underneath you. Okay, and then if you're in the modified side plank, you just stay here, maybe bring an arm up and over. If you're in your flip the dog, we're going to get really fun and creative, and we're going to come onto our right hand, find plank feet together, and come to side plank on your outer right foot. And if you want even more, you can hover your left leg, and we'll all meet so that we're in a lunge with the left foot forward. So however it takes to get there. Your left foot is in front. Your right knee can be down, otherwise high lunge. So right heel nice and high. Take your time to lift into crescent lunge. Couple breaths here. I always like to bend the elbows so you find what feels good. Maybe you do some sort of arm movements. And sink low enough that you feel some stretch, but high enough that you feel supported. Okay, now a twist. Hands to heart, inhale. Twist to your left. Elbow hooks outside. Strong lift in the back leg. And you could always open up the arms so that your right arm's outside your leg, or you could open up your arm so that your hand is inside your foot, which is a lot gentler. And whenever you feel complete with that, what you could do is just maybe give yourself a brief upright pigeon if you'd like a little time to rest there, and keep your torso lifted, just adding some extra hip opening, and gently squeeze your knees towards each other. Connect into your hands, tuck your right toes to transition to plank, and go through your flow nice and steadily. Exhale down, inhale cobra or up dog. Child's pose or down dog. Notice the difference between sides. Okay, all that on the other side. So if you're doing your flip the dog, left leg high, roll open, let your foot come to the floor, come to your reverse three-legged table, or right knee underneath you, modified side plank. And if you're in modified side plank, you're going to just stay here as everyone else goes to full side plank with your top arm up and over. If you're in your flip the dog, bring your left hand up and then down to the floor, and bring your feet together, and you rotate onto your outer left foot as you lift your right arm, and maybe you hover your right leg. And then where we're all going to meet here is the right foot in between the hands for a high lunge. If you're modifying, lower the back knee. Otherwise, come up to your high lunge. Get your balance, do what feels good in the shoulders. So it might be helpful to sink a little lower and then retuck your tailbone. When you shake, if you shake, that means you're really working hard, so that's good. We're working the nervous system. Inhale, hands to heart. Exhale, twist right. Take your time. Nice, slow transition to keep your steadiness and strength. An option to open the arms if you did before, and you can always bring your hand inside your foot to have a little more ease. Good. Then both hands come down, and if you did it on the other side, you might come to that brief upright pigeon pose. So you place your knee more towards the right, your left heel is close to the left hip, and you can stay high on your arms here, but hug your knees. Maybe open through your heart like you're doing cobra. Just get comfortable for another moment or two here. Notice what it's like to be in this pose in the upright position. It's a little more active. Then root into your hands, step back to plank, lower down. If you feel weak in your low back, just lower the knees. Cobra or up dog. Down dog or child's pose. We're making really good time here. Give yourself a rest, deep breaths. Beautiful. From your wherever you are at, we're going to walk our hands backwards towards the back of the mat. So you end up in a forward fold. So you can grab your big toes is one option. Actually, let's start with the big toes. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, fold. So your elbows come out to the sides. You feel your weight into your feet. Maybe a little more pressure into the balls of the feet. Okay, so either stay here or anyways, you could actually inhale, lengthen, give yourself a break, and either stay with the big toes or put one hand at a time under your soles of your feet. Lengthen and fold, and feel free to repeat that holding your toes. See if you can bring your breath into your low back. You might feel your thighs against your body, maybe not. Good. Next, inhale, half lift, lengthen. Bring your hands up above your knees or to your hips and get a good halfway lift. Okay, great. And then we're going to walk our hands forwards. It's basically what I call the in-between a down dog and a forward fold. So you might even be on your fingertips. You're trying to keep the heels down. Just feel a good alignment on the shoulders. Feel some calf stretch. Short down dog. And then you can walk your hands a little more forwards. Pause, going a little deeper in the experience of opening the calves. And then we're going to walk our feet up towards the hands. Think of a squat here. So one modification is just a nice gentle squat, elbows on the knees. That's option one. Option two could be sinking into a squat, elbows inside the knees, hands at the heart. And option three is crow. So if you want to do crow pose, there's kind of two ways. So one way is the hard way, knees to triceps. My favorite way is way easier for me, knees outside the triceps, so you can squeeze. Knees to arms, arms to knees, you can scooch the toes in, look forwards, and maybe you're just working on balance, lifting one foot at a time. Maybe you keep squeezing and gradually reach your heart forwards to find full balance. So play with that a bit. Any of those options, the squat or the crow. And maybe someday you find the transition where you shoot your legs back to chaturanga and inhale into up dog or cobra. So, or you just, when you've had enough, you step back, find your flow, cobra or up dog. Good. And then we'll find some kind of inversion here. So if headstands in your practice, that's a good one. You can carefully check that your elbows are shoulder width. So what I do is I hold my elbows to make sure they're the right width. Interlace the fingers, and you can just draw your shoulders back, lift your hips, walk your feet in, and this could be enough here. The next stage is just lifting your head and just working your strength. Lower your head after a while, then lift. Or come into the full inversion, or you're just staying in maybe dolphin pose. That's building strength. Okay, nice steady breaths. If you're upside down, how active can you get in your legs? Squeeze inner thighs, press up to the balls of the big toes, and then maybe you get fancy. You could play with bringing maybe one leg to a 90-degree angle in front of you, and then the other, or both, or just stay. Few more breaths, staying steady in your core. Beautiful. And just carefully lower down. You want to do a child's pose or a forward fold. Probably a child's pose is even better, just to let any tension go in the neck after that. And for any of you doing the recording and you're like, I do not do headstand, that's great. Keep yourself safe. The dolphin pose will strengthen your neck and shoulders without putting pressure on your head. Okay, beautiful. Now we're going to do a little fun balance. So we will start our balance from a warrior one. So you can lift your right leg high and step your right foot right between your hands. Back heel down, warrior one. Okay. And then we're going to go right to lifting the left knee in front of us. So you can bring your hands to heart, lean forwards, lift your left knee in front. And for today, option one is just to hold your hips and bring your leg in front. And option two could be holding your knee or big toe. So you pick one that feels good. Steady your thighs. I'll show the modification today. And then hip opening option, open your leg or knee out to the left. And your other arm can be out as well. Keep your eyes focused. Good. Inhale, center. Take a nice deep breath. Maybe you re-extend the leg. You can lift the arms. Beautiful. Lower down and between sides, just will lift the heels, open the arms, half sun salute, forward fold, half lift, fold. Come up and lift your heels. Give your ankles a little release. Right to the other side. So actually we're going to keep going with this side. So we were doing the left leg. So let's extend the leg out again. Hands to heart. And then swing back to airplane pose. And then if you have a block, you're welcome to get your block ready. So from airplane, you can just start to lower your right hand to a hover or to the block. Either one is fine. It's a little wobbly. And then you find a half moon pose. So take your time. Maybe you're trying it today without the block. Okay, and then just to finish that off, we'll step to a warrior two, pause. Step forwards to chair. Add your forward fold just to clear the slate. Let all that go. Okay, to clear the slate, inhale, lengthen. Place your hands, step or hop to your plank. Just add a flow or skip the flow, down dog. Okay, other side, all that on the other side. Left foot forwards, warrior one, right heel comes down. Standing balance, right knee in front. Hands maybe come to your heart. You can extend your leg and stay here or catch your knee or your big toe. If you're catching your toe, you could extend. Stay centered forward first. Shoulder back and then open to the side, to the right. Your other arm could open or not, but keep that little tuck of the tailbone, engagement in the belly. Beautiful. Opening our hip externally. Then come back to center and inhale. Maybe as you extend your leg, your arms could lift. Lower down, little quick half sun salute to clear the slate. Lift your heels, lift your arms, forward fold. Breathe in, lengthen, fold, and as you stand up on your toes. Inhale up. And then lift your right leg again out in front. Maybe arms lift. Sweep to airplane pose. Swing your right leg back. If you're using a block, you might have it over to the left to get ready to turn your right toes out, move to half moon. It can be a hovering half moon, which is really fun to just practice sometimes in balance, or hand on your block. Get a little more stable if you prefer. Okay, and then just at some point when you feel ready, bend your front knee, land in warrior two. Good. Step to chair. Inhale, and right to the next pose, dancer. So take your left foot, you can take your outer or inner foot, and if you need a wall or something, you can use your wall and find the quad stretch first. So heel in, tailbone down.
Once you have a good quad stretch, sometimes I even hold both hands for that, then you're welcome to move to dancer. Push your foot into your hand, angle yourself forwards, and keep pressing. So you'll probably still feel the quad stretch even when you're in dancer pose. Okay, big inhale. And then to come out of it, maybe it would be fun to lift your knee or bring your leg out in front of you. Pause a moment between sides, roll out any foot tension you need to. And then grab your right outer inner foot. First, get the quad stretch. So pull your heel in, tuck your tailbone under. Hold something if you need to. Left arm up, push your foot into your hand. Gently hinge forwards from your pelvis. Let it be a smooth motion. And once you get into it, you might further press your foot into your hand to open up your heart. Really open things up. Try to get that quad stretch even in the balancing pose. And when you're ready to come out, you could be fancy about it. Knee in front or leg extends. Use your core muscles. Good, shake that out. Pause a moment and just close your eyes and notice. Okay, we're going to try one more time. So weight into your right foot. If your shoulders are okay with this, you can try holding your inner foot or inner ankle this time. Otherwise, repeat the same. Hold the outer. You also could just focus on the quad stretch and maybe hold with both hands. Okay, when you're ready, if you want to repeat dancer pose, take your time and perhaps you find a way of going into it with a fuller expression of some sort this time. For example, maybe you don't go as far forwards, but you lift your foot higher. Maybe you go farther forwards, but you have your heel in closer. Find what feels better. Come out in your own magical, whimsical way with your breath. Pause and feel, maybe roll out your right standing foot. Massage anything out. Take a moment to notice a difference. Shift your weight in your left foot. Make your left leg strong. Perhaps you hold the inner ankle this time. Big shoulder stretch. Or hold your foot with both hands. Go deeper in your quad stretch. Okay, when you're ready, dancer pose. Experimenting with the pose slightly differently than before. Like I mentioned, maybe you're not going as far forwards, but you're pushing your foot more into your hand. Come out of it and you're as graceful as you can, gracefully as you can. Great. And then lift your arms out and up. Forward fold. Inhale, lengthen. Take a flow or just enjoy a forward fold. So you can go back to plank, or maybe you're just hanging out in a forward fold, resting a little bit. If you were hanging out in the forward fold, we'll meet in down dog. Step your, let's see, I'm going to turn around for this. Step your right foot forwards. You might have your block if you use your block for triangle pose. And we're going to go right up to a warrior two. Warrior two, triangle pose. So straighten the front leg. Tilt your hips back. Your hand can be anywhere on your thigh or on your block or even inside. And several deep breaths here. Open up. Feel strength in each leg helping to rotate open your rib cage stacks. Good. On your next inhalation, come all the way up. And pivot around on your feet for, we'll do side to side skandasana, so hands at your heart. You can just go side to side. The more gentle option would be walk your hands to one foot, bend knee over ankle, and then the other, and just take your time with that.
You can square off your feet, lengthen on an inhale, exhale, forward fold. Take a few breaths. You can always walk your hands more forwards to find more ease in your shoulders. Okay, great. Slowly walk your hands all the way up your thighs to your hips and stand up. And turn to a short warrior one at the front of your mat so your front knee comes over your front ankle. Twisting triangle so you can straighten your legs. Draw your right hip back, left arm lifts up. Inhale here. Lean forwards, bring your hand to your shin or your block, inside or outside, and just check that your pelvis is stable as you twist. And only if it feels okay in your shoulder, you could lift your right arm up, but to modify, just keep your hand on your pelvis. Get strong through the legs. When you feel done with twisting triangle, find pyramid pose. Find that stretch in the back of your right leg. And if you want a little more, standing splits. Lift your left leg, bow forwards. And from there you can transition into your flow. Maybe you kick up through the left leg to jump back to plank and go through the flow. So find what works for you as you flow. Good. And then lift your other side. So lift your left leg. We'll step right into a warrior two, left foot forwards, line up heel to arch, warrior two. Okay, straighten your front leg, tilt your pelvis, use a block if you'd like. Find your alignment with your spine kind of hovering over your left leg. Both legs are strong, you're rooting into your feet. Find the angle of your neck that feels good. Aliveness in your body. Another breath or two. Strong arms, soft knees to help you come up to standing. To pivot over to the side, hands on your hips this time. Elbows hug in. Inhale, lift your heart. Forward fold, and you can repeat your inversion if you'd like. You can find tripod headstand, or maybe you hold the big toes. I like to put a block under my head for this one. So you can even interlace fingers behind. So any wide-legged forward fold or tripod headstand you'd like to try, have a few experimental deep breaths. So you have that same pelvic floor engagement and abdominal engagement we've been having, especially when you're upside down. Beautiful. When you feel complete, rise or lower down if you're upside down. And then slowly rise back up. Revisit a warrior. So we'll find a short warrior one stance, front knee over ankle. And then slowly straighten your front leg. Prepare for twisting triangle by taking your left hand to your hip, draw it back. Reach your right hand to your leg or a block inside or outside your leg, and then check that your pelvis is nice and stable. You might have to draw your right hip back. Twist open to the left, option to lift your left arm or just hand to sacrum. This is a very strong, active twist. We've gotten ready for it with all the other things we've done, but you might still need to be gentle here. When you've had enough, lean forwards, move forwards and bow, pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana, hamstring stretch. Stay with this, or you're welcome to try standing splits, lift your right leg. If you did the little kick up, flatten your hands, kick up through your right leg to go back to plank and flow. Okay, great. And then we make our way from plank to the floor. So if you can, you take some time to lower down. Lower down. We start with locust pose here. So the upper back variation we'll do first. So
Both hands come down, backs of your hands, knuckles and fingernails push down as you lift your head. And then you might try just lifting your right leg and breathe there. Root through your hands and your left foot. Switch legs, left leg up. Keep alternating or lift both legs. Push into both hands. This works the upper back. So you're drawing your shoulders up away from the floor and pushing your hands down. Good. And then lower your face to one side and just rest here or bend your knees and windshield wipe your feet. Okay, so you're either going to repeat that same exact thing or you do the next progression, which is bow pose. So you could grab your feet and lift up through your head. When that feels good, you can lift, maybe you lift your feet higher, lift your knees higher. Deep, steady breaths. Good. Find your full expression. Inhale. Head to the other side, maybe windshield wiper again. Okay, good. And then brief crocodile pose. So forehead on your forearms, stack them like a pillow. And 3 deep belly breaths, ujjayi breaths. Breathe to push your belly into the floor. Feel your ribs kind of pressing. This should feel good in the low back. If not, you can always go back to child's pose. Okay, good. Now we're going to do Ardha Bakasana, a version of half frog's pose. So you'll bend your right knee. Actually, before we do that, it's nice to come into Sphinx pose. So you have elbows under your shoulders, roll your shoulders back, and then you can swing your left forearm so it's parallel to the front edge of your mat. Then see if you can grab your right foot. So it's a great quad stretch. It's a shoulder opener and a little back bend. So we really root through the left foot to draw the right heel down towards the outer glute. If you've got the shoulder mobility, if your heel is touching your glute, it's possible that you could spin your hand around. It's not always possible, but maybe it's possible. So your fingers face forwards, and that could feel good in your shoulder. If not, just stay with what you had before. And we're just getting the heels outside the glutes, pressing your hand down into your foot to open the quads, to open your heart. And then what you could do is just scoot your left arm forwards and relax. So you keep on holding your foot and you tuck your tailbone and get that nice deep quad stretch. And then just to add on, if you wanted to, you can do half bow. Push your foot into your hand, lift your left arm in front. Maybe you lift the left leg and inhale, and then rest. Whatever you need between sides, notice a difference. Maybe exhale mouth. Other side, so Sphinx pose, tuck your tailbone a little bit, spin your right forearm parallel to the front edge of your mat, bend your left knee and see if you can grab your left foot and pull your foot down. Adjust your right elbow. You might have to scooch it more forwards. If you've got the shoulder mobility and your heel is outside your glutes and a little bit down the buttocks, then you might have the room to spin your hand around so your fingers face forwards. Otherwise, just ignore that part and keep pulling your foot in. You get a good stretch, maybe in the front of your ankle. Keep rooting through your right foot. Stay with that active pose or relax your arm more forwards, forehead down, and keep pulling your foot down. Tuck your tailbone, breathe into your quads. Then release that windshield wipe, whatever you need, and it's going to feel just like medicine to come back to either child's pose or maybe hips over knees. And just breathe into your low back. That was a deep back bending sequence. Okay, good. And moving right along, find your hands and knees or down dog. Take a moment. Okay. So right foot forwards into a lunge. I'll show you your options here. So one option that if you are wanting to work the quads more, I really love this option, is right hand goes back to left foot. So you could work with this pose for a bit. The other option, if you want maybe a little more hamstrings, you can do our sliding back and forth, and maybe you sit on a block or a blanket. And then from there, you could choose more of the hamstring stretch by going forwards, or you can do more of the quad stretch. This would be a little more restorative than the first one I showed you. You can come down to your forearms, or maybe you have a block that you bring behind you and bring your head or your upper back to the block. Or maybe you just lay all the way down and it's this really deep, restorative half hero's pose, reclined half hero's pose. So out of all those options, you find the one that seems the most beneficial. And whenever we're doing a quadricep stretch, we want to have that bit of a tuck in the tailbone so that you're keeping things active but opening things up. Okay, great. So maybe 3 more breaths wherever you are. Maybe try, perhaps if you were doing just the quad openers, maybe now you do one of the hamstring stretches. Or vice versa. When you feel ready to come out of it, you can choose to come back to the lunge and go through your flow, or maybe you just make some circles from down dog or hands and knees. Find your down dog or child's pose eventually just to resettle. And we may think, oh, what are all these quad stretches for? Well, the beautiful thing about them, and when we can really open the quads, it's a real key to having freedom in our back bending. If our quads are really tight, we're just not going to be able to open the front of our bodies fully. So when you're ready, other side, everything on the other side. So left foot forwards, we start off in the lunge. You might have grabbed left hand to right foot and worked this opening lunge. Or maybe you just shifted back and forth in the sliding hamstring stretch. Inhale, lunge, exhale, back. And then from there you can transition. Maybe you sit your left hip on a blanket or a block. You could do more of the hamstring stretch by leaning forwards, or tuck your tailbone and come back. You can come back to your forearms. You might get some props behind you, maybe lay all the way down, which just feels amazing on the quads. We're opening the front of the pelvis. So whichever you had done on the other side, just experiment. Find that engagement by tucking your tailbone depending on what pose you're in. And we all have our tight areas, right? For me, it's the quads for sure. And what I've found in my own experience is that foam rolling really helps. Stretching is great, but adding in some deep tissue massage like foam rolling, or if you don't have a foam roller, you could use just use your hands to massage. That really does help keep that tension down. Take a couple more breaths wherever you are. If you had done maybe the hamstring stretch, or if you had done the quad stretch, do the hamstring stretch, or vice versa. Great. And then just in your own timing, go through a flow or roll out whichever leg feels right from your from your hands and knees or down dog. And then we're going to finish with our favorite hip opener. So that might be a pigeon pose. We did it earlier upright. Maybe this time you draw your right knee to the front corner of your mat, and then you come down to your forearms. We've gotten the quads really open today, so if you wanted to, you can put your right hand inside your knee and reach back with your left hand for your foot. The other option would be some sort of seated hip stretch, which on some days those seated postures can feel really amazing, and then you could lean forwards. So your knees could be stacking. You could have your shins stacking and feet flexed, depending on what version of the seated hip opener you want to try. So I'll leave you for a few deep breaths. Keep things engaged. We just think we want to keep the joints safe by engaging them, by having the muscles turn on around the joints of the feet and the knees. And just find your own way to go deeper where you are. Maybe that means you lean forwards more, or you engage more. You do a different variation. It might help to breathe into the tight spots. Try not to resist the tension as it arises. Can you breathe into it? And just in your own way, change sides however you gracefully would like to. Maybe you go through a flow or just sit and move to the other side. Find all the expressions you had done. Maybe you started upright if you were in pigeon. Maybe you grabbed your right foot with your right hand. Or maybe you came into your seated variation. So just check in that you're setting up in a very safe way for your joints, active feet and knees, and start to direct your breath to the pockets of tension. Maybe exhale out your mouth. You can also use tennis balls to massage the glutes and the hips, so that can be another great way to work on these areas in conjunction with stretching and postures. So going deeper now, whatever way that brings you to some more depth. It doesn't mean that you're going further in the pose. It could just mean you're fine-tuning your awareness, just putting your awareness in your body into the sensations. Okay? When you are ready, you come out of it and you just do any finishing postures you need. We are at 5 minutes till the end of class, so you might find that just a twist is enough. Maybe it's a bridge pose, shoulder stand plow, fish pose sequence. I'm just going to leave it open to you today. Maybe you go right to Shavasana. So you do what your body's needing now. Find the variations that feel good. And then one really simple one that is always available to you is just having a block, and lifting the legs up could be very helpful if you don't feel like doing a full shoulder stand. Do any final postures that get you ready for final relaxation, lying on your back. And make any final adjustments to get even more comfortable here. Feel your body on the floor and let go into that support of the floor. Bring your awareness down to your lower body. Feel your feet. Feel like you're breathing into your feet. Maybe like you're breathing from the soles of your feet and up into the whole circumference of each foot. On each inhale, you go up higher into your calves and shins and knees, and back down and out your feet. And just breathe that way, tuning into your thighs, the quads we opened today, how they feel now, the hamstrings, the inner and outer leg muscles. Spin a few breaths in your pelvis and hips. Tune into your outer hips, your piriformis, your inner hip sockets. And just anywhere else, maybe you focus on the hips or low body, or maybe you go all the way, making your way all the way up to the top of your body, to your head, breath by breath. And sometimes it can be helpful to focus on one thing at a time, like one hip, and then the other, one side of the low back, and then the other. When your awareness wanders, bring it back to the area of your body you're focusing on. Just gentle breath awareness in your body. Finding any other pockets of tension to consciously release them until you feel your awareness shining in every part of your body. Your whole body is full of aliveness and vitality. You can stay resting here or deepen your breath to wiggle your fingers and toes and make any movements that would feel good to transition you to a comfortable seat or side lying position. And when you get to seated, you can sweep your arms in a big circle, and we'll make an Om. Send this Om into an intention for yourself, or perhaps an intention you're holding for someone else today. Inhale to begin. Om. And we honor the light in ourselves and in each other. Namaste. I will turn off the recording. Thank you.